Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Bowfishing Buzz, brought to you by AMS Bowfishing and
Mega Mouth Bowfishing as well.
Happy 2024, Schmitty.
Yes, sir. First episode in 2024. That's what I'm talking about. Episode 73.
Yes, sir. My name is Matthew, and of course, D. Schmitty on the other side right over there. It's bright in here, huh?
It is bright
in here,
Look,
Schmitty?
Matt, I
What's
just want
up with the sunglasses?
I just want to see if you're familiar with the phrase, once a fluke, twice a pattern. You ever heard that before?
I have never heard that before, no.
You've heard that it, the cream rises to the top.
Yeah, I've heard, yes.
You've heard that it's lonely at the top. It's lonely when you're up at the top by yourself.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I've never felt so alone.
Well, you haven't had a girlfriend in like 20 years.
Okay, besides that, I'm just curious. In the Bowfishing Ninjas fantasy football world, I think that we have a back-to-back champion, baby. The Swamp Assassins, D. Schmitty's team. Let's go. Thank you for the applause.
I'll give you that. You did win the Bowfishing Ninjas.
Boom. That's what I'm talking about.
fantasy football here at the AMS shop.
Dominated.
You did win it.
Dominated.
You did win it.
Dominated all year. And the best part of all of this is that I won $10,000. $10,000. No, actually, it was $130. But still, 2 years in a row. And now Matt, as you guys remember us talking about, has to shoot a fish in a dress next year because I finished higher than he did.
You are messing up the rules. I finished third. Okay. For that to happen, you had to finish dead last.
Okay, let me ask everybody who's listening here. You guys send us an email, message us on social media, comment on the podcast. Should Matt have to shoot a fish in a dress? I think it was whoever finished last between us two.
That's
how
I
took
the rules
it.
went.
So I remember listening to those rules and going, you know what, Schmitty? Step it up. 2 years in a row. Let's go. Put your LeBron face on. Let's go get some back-to-back champs. And we did it, baby. We freaking did it.
You got lucky.
We did it.
You got lucky.
Sore loser.
You got lucky.
Sore loser.
No, congratulations. Congratulations to, I can't remember the name of your team.
The Swamp Assassins.
Swamp Assassins.
Come on, show some respect. Show some respect.
Yep,
all right, Cocky Derrick is gone. Podcast Derrick is back.
I'm going to come in here now hot and heavy with Cocky Matt.
Oh, okay. But what did you win
I did not win, but the Green Bay Packers.
Yes. Talk about a walloping yesterday. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, man.
Today is Monday, January 15th. I hope it's the 15th. Is it the 15th?
Yeah.
It's the 15th.
Yeah.
And yesterday, our Green Bay Packers, our youngest team in the league, Jordan Love's no Aaron Rodgers, went into AT&T Stadium and whooped the Dallas Cowboys.
There was a record, Schmidt, that you were talking about. The Green Bay Packers have more playoff wins in AT&T Stadium than the Cowboys do.
That's you know what that is. let me draw a comparison, Matt, to the bowfishing world. Say we had a tournament up here in Wisconsin, and a bunch of guys from California came to shoot the tournament, and they have more wins at that tournament than we do in our home state. Right. That's what the comparison is to it.
Yeah.
Watching that game yesterday was like a dream come true. I couldn't believe my eyes. It was ridiculous.
Wide open receivers on the right side of the field.
Yeah. And here's the biggest stat of that game, man.
Aaron Jones,
Musgrave, Wicks, Dobbs had a crazy game. But let me share this little statistic with you. I don't know. You probably heard it yesterday during the broadcast. Our leading receiver all year, Jaden Reed, rookie out of Michigan State, I believe. Matt, you know how many catches he had yesterday?
I think he ended up with one.
Did he have one? I don't even know if he had one.
I know
maybe
one
he did have one.
Yeah, I think at one time he didn't have no catches in the fourth quarter.
No, he had like 0 catches through 3 quarters of the game. And we put up 48 points. That just shows you the dynamic. Now, we got to go to San Francisco. Might get walloped by the Niners. They're ridiculous. Yep. They are the Niners are a juggernaut if I've ever seen one in the league. Yeah. But we're just riding high. We are happy. And to top it off last night, old Dame Time Lillard pulls up from half court and drains a 3 at the buzzer to beat the Kings. Let's go.
The Bucks won too.
Oh man. Man. What a week.
What a week.
What a week.
ATA show was done and wrapped up for this year. We just got back from there Saturday night at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yep. If you guys you'll probably have it on the video portion of this podcast.
Yeah, actually, we got that cool time lapse that we did there when we were setting that booth up.
Yep.
And it shows us from our little booth spot right there from the cement floor all the way up to the final You know, in a little time lapse of us setting up the floor and the back walls and the product and everything, getting lights on and everything.
You documented that very well, actually, to show everybody on the podcast, too. And a little bonus here. If you guys are ever wondering what it's like to drive in an Antarctic snowstorm, that's what we drove back in Saturday night into Sunday morning.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous. Matt was driving, thank God, because it was there were vehicles in the ditch, semis in the ditch. It was crazy. The wind was just whipping.
From Bloomington, when we got to Bloomington, Illinois, all the way up to the Ohio or the Illinois River.
Yeah.
It was a complete whiteout.
Yeah. It was nuts. It was crazy.
We took some video of it, but the video even doesn't do justice.
The video looks bad. It was worse than what you're going to see.
Every car had its flashers on. There was like chain reaction accidents where somebody would lose control and go in a ditch, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. It'd just be a chain reaction of more of them in the ditch.
I thought thought was crazy is we'd be going along, you know, in our right side, where our traffic is heading that direction, and you would see a semi in the ditch that it went into the ditch, obviously on our side of the highway, and it was facing the wrong way.
Yeah.
It spun enough, jackknifed, and then out of that back trailer gets behind it, and the semi was facing the wrong direction of where we were going. That's how slick and bad people were. So I hope everybody is all right with that, but the roads were rough it was going back.
60 miles, so it's about a 7.5, 8 hour drive for us to get back here to central Wisconsin. Yeah. About 60 miles out of St. Louis, I had to take the cruise off because icy roads and stuff. And I wasn't able to use the cruise control again until we got an hour away from home.
Yeah.
My leg was sore.
And it was all looking good. And then all of a sudden we were driving back, and all of a sudden I'm sitting there. I had to reach in the back to grab something out of the backpack, and all of a sudden the truck just started to turn sideways.
Took off, yeah.
I'm like, what the heck? And then I'm like, man, was that ice? Yep. Yeah. And we luckily the truck righted itself, and we were fine. But that was when we were like, oh, okay, we got to lock in here. What
do you think about this year's ATA show, Schmitty?
Yeah, ATA show, I think and you know what, I'm just going to give everybody who maybe doesn't know what the ATA show is just a little bit of a briefing on it. The ATA show is the Archery Trade Association show. That's what ATA stands for.
Largest archery show in America.
Has been for decades. Huge show. Every hunting brand that has anything to do with archery, so you're talking all of your bow dealers, you're talking camo patterns, boots, releases, arrows, tree stands, broadheads, blinds, broadheads, everything you can think of is down at this show. Excuse me, they have a booth at the show. And what it is, it's not open to the public. It's not a consumer show. What it is it's dealers, retailers throughout the entire United States come to this show to see.
And all across the world.
That's true. That's true. How many guys did we talk to from overseas, Canada, all over the place? And they come here to see new products and to place orders with their companies that they carry in the shop and whatever. So it's a very big show.
Yeah.
It used to be, in my opinion, it used to be bigger than what it was. There used to just be more people in general at the show. But I think this year was a good show. We talked to a lot of our dealers, which we love to do. We had a bunch of new products to talk about. That was very cool. Those were very well received. And we were able to really connect with a lot of people that most of the time, you know, we're just talking on the phone or emailing back and forth. We made a couple new dealer contacts. So that's kind of what the show is for. And I think it was a pretty good show down there in St. Louis.
Yep. The convention center was very nice.
Yeah.
The only problem that I had with the area was the parking.
Oh, God, it was a nightmare. Yeah.
The ATA staff, nor the Edlin service company that was doing the show there, didn't know what was really going on with the parking.
Yeah.
We got emails ahead of time saying where we're supposed to park our personal vehicles for security and all this stuff, and nobody knew what was going on with that.
No.
And
we would get, just like when we got down there, we unloaded in the parking lot, nice and close, no problem.
Yep.
And we went over. He said, "Go ask that lady if we can park here." So I went over there and I asked her, and I'm like, "So can we park here? Can we park here overnight? Can we leave the truck here? 50 yards from the convention center, and just leave it here all week, so we don't have to, because our hotel's right there. We walk to our hotel."
Yep.
I asked her if we could just keep the truck there, and she looked at me with bewilderment. She goes, "No, right out there. You want to park? No." She goes, you do not want to be parked out there overnight. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay, so all right, I guess we got to go try to figure something out. So then, like you said, we were back and forth. The ATA would tell us to go park somewhere. We'd go there. They said we couldn't park there, and it was just kind of a mess. The parking.
We just ended up going to the hotel that we were staying at and let them deal with it. Yeah, and park the truck somewhere. Yep. But otherwise, it was a good show.
Yeah, went to our first hockey game down there. Yep. That was cool. The NHL, the St. Louis game. Blues down there. That was pretty cool. That was pretty nice.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. We did all kinds of stuff while we were down there. Oh, we went to the Badlands Film Festival.
That's always.
I'm not sure if you want to cover that later somewhere in the podcast.
It's always a fun. I enjoy going to the Badlands Film Festival.
Yeah, very cool. A ton of awesome films. If you guys are ever down there for the ATA show, highly recommend going to the Badlands Film Festival. It's free. Yep, just got to get a ticket.
Just got to find somebody who has a ticket.
Yep. Matt, would you mind if I shared a story about the Badlands Film Festival?
I know what you're going to say. It's no big deal. It's all right. I'm over it.
Okay. I can make this a 10-minute story. I'll make it a 2-minute story.
Make it a short story.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we've actually got a great guest.
We do have a great guest. We got tons of records.
I'm going to tell everybody who we have coming on.
Sure. Okay. Let's do that.
So about a month and a half ago, we had somebody say, "Hey, I like how you did your fish categories and talked about certain species of fish and whatnot." And he brought up butterfly carp.
Yes, which are crazy looking.
And he wanted to know some more information on butterfly carp. So we're going to be joined today by Jenni Oviatt and his wife Jenni, who own Grinz N Finz Bowfishing in Idaho, to talk about butterfly carp.
Great name, first of all, Grinz N Finz. That's really cool. And they get on butterfly carp about as much as I have ever seen any people be able to get on butterfly carp.
Yep. They have a guide business out there, and that's what they do, and that's what they specialize in.
Yeah.
Is targeting these butterfly carp.
Yep.
So they're going to be joining us today. It's going to be a cool little podcast talking
Absolutely.
about. I've shot a crucian carp here last year, which kind of has a big tail. It's a shorter looking fish. It's got a big tail and big fins, but it's not a butterfly by any means.
Right.
But it's a cool looking fish.
And we'll have pictures of butterfly carp from them on the video portion of the podcast.
So they will be joining us here.
Yeah, we won't be able to explain how crazy unique they look just by speaking it out. You guys will have to check out. We'll have some crazy pictures.
I want to know, do they hang in the same places as common carp?
I know.
Do they spawn together with the common carp, or do they, do it themselves?
Yep.
That sounded funny, didn't it?
They do if they spawn by themselves. Yep.
But you know what I mean? If they kind of keep their distance from common carp,
do butterfly spawn with butterfly carp exclusively, or do they crossbreed like that? Yeah.
Because how many times have you seen when the buffs are spawning, you'll have carp right in there spawning together, and stuff like that. So I'm wondering characteristics of the butterfly carp. I don't know.
And something cool about whenever we have a guest on, Matt, it pretty much happens every time we have somebody on, is it's really cool. One, we're bringing the knowledge that we'll be finding out to the listeners.
Yep.
I'm sure you can speak for this too, but myself, I'm sitting here like, oh my God, I'm learning right along with this. And so any questions that I have, I'll try to bring them up because this is all new raw information to myself as well. So yeah, that was pretty cool. But quickly back to the Badlands Film Festival. So very cool. We donated a Ringo bow, one of our new bows, to give away. They show all these featured films. You vote on them in this big auditorium, kind of movie theater type setting. So cool. And then at the end of all those videos, they give away like $30,000 worth of prizes. The prizes are just crazy what people donate. It's very cool. And so on your ticket, you write your name on your ticket, and you put it in a little basket up there, and you have the possibility of being drawn to win all these prizes. So we're sitting there, and the shows, the featured films are done, and so they start raffling off these prizes. Just crazy prizes. I mean, stuff that we're
talking like $10,000 Canon camera packages.
Yeah,
Bedford Garmin cameras,
electric bikes. It gets ridiculous.
Pellet grills.
Yeah.
So they're bows.
Elite bows.
Binoculars.
Two of them. Yeah. So we're sitting there getting ready, and they're calling out, all right, so for the pellet grill, the winner for the pellet grill retails at $1,000. The winner is Chris from Ameristep Tree Stands. Oh, my God, that's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, my God. All right, next we're going to give away a Baku electric bike, retail $5,000. That's going to go to Johnny over there at USA Releases.
Do you remember all the winners?
Oh, my God. All right, our next one here, we're giving away a spice kit. Some seasonings. We're giving away a couple 3-packs of seasonings here. Winner is Matt from AMS. Not that that's not a great prize. Don't get me wrong. But when Matt came back to his seat with 3 individual little shaking canister of seasonings. Okay, so they give that away. And then the next one, all right, from Bedford Cameras, a $20,000 value camera kit. We're giving it away to Corey over there at Summit Tree Stand. Oh, my God. Somehow Matt got very unlucky and got one of the smallest prizes that they give away at that show.
I've been going to the film festivals for 12 years. That's the first time my name got drawn.
Yeah, that was too funny. And literally when they held up what they were going to give away, I'm like, watch me win this thing. Of all the things, watch, this is what I'm going to win. Matt from AMS. Oh my God, I could not believe that. I couldn't believe it. But I mean, other than not winning exactly what we wanted, that film festival is very cool.
It's an awesome event put on by Badlands. Yeah, it's just a great, neat little thing because I love editing. I love the filming part of it, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And telling a story.
Yep, some of them on there. We won't go into depth of them, but sometimes they put them on YouTube. And if you guys are ever looking, search that Badlands Film Festival on YouTube and see if they have that uploaded because some of those films are just spectacular.
Yep.
They're spectacular. But so yeah, that kind of recaps our ATA show.
Yep.
There, it was all good.
Yep. How about some BAA Records here, Schmitty?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into those.
Records. Congrats to Zachary Plunkett on his BAA Louisiana Youth Record Bowfin at 9.4 pounds, and his BAA Louisiana Youth and State Record Spotted Gar at 11 pounds.
Heck yeah, nice shooting, Zachary.
Way to go.
Yep. Congrats to Haley Cheatham on her BAA Kansas Youth Record Big Mouth Buffalo, weighing 49.3 pounds. Holy cow, nice shooting, Haley. Very cool.
And then how about we got Dessa Boucher on her BAA Oklahoma Youth and State Record River Red Horse, weighing 5 pounds, and her BAA Oklahoma Youth Record Smallmouth Buffalo, weighing 15 pounds.
Awesome. Nice shooting.
Great job. And like we always say, it's so great to see those youths out there with all these youth records for the BAA. Great job by not only the shooters, but also the BAA for having these records.
Absolutely.
And if you ever do shoot a state record or a youth record, you have to be a BAA member. So make sure that you're a member because we need you. Yeah. We need as many people on the BAA forums as we can get because something big just came up.
Absolutely. Absolutely did.
Something big just came up in the state of Oklahoma.
Yep.
The state and not so much the state, but we had a group that wanted to start putting bag limits on some certain species. And one of them was buffalo.
Yep.
The buffs, they wanted to put some limits on those. And, hats off to the BAA and all the individuals that went to these meetings to speak on behalf of the bowfishing.
Trying to battle these limit regulations.
To go there with a certain agenda and a plan.
Yep.
Because you got to be smart when you're going into these things.
Oh, God, yeah. Yep.
You got to have a plan and agenda of what needs to be said.
It's not
who's
just
going to do the talking.
Exactly. You can't just go in and say, no, I don't like this. Right. You have to have a very predetermined, pre-planned out way to attack this so that other people are going to be able to clearly see the vision that you are trying to portray.
Right.
I mean, you gotta have your ducks in a row for sure.
And I just talked to the BAA, or Pete Gregoire.
Yep.
Who was down there and asked him if he would join us on our next podcast to talk more in depth on this whole thing.
Yeah.
So we won't get into too much in depth on here, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to read a letter or a note that Pete posted on the BAA Facebook page, and I thought it was really interesting, and there's some really interesting topics that we as bowfishers need to remember.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a little bit of that memoir here. I'll read it out to everybody listening right now. Matt, we'll start. So, and this is Pete, in Pete's words, correct? Pete put this note out.
Yep.
So Pete put on here, at the recent ODWC commissioners meeting on Monday, January 8th, the bowfishers of Oklahoma were represented by Randy Woodward, Stephen Banazek, Stephen Whitney, Pete Gregoire, and Dustin and J.C. Staton. We spoke out against the proposed limits on native non-game fish and the requirements to keep these fish instead of having the option to slit and sink or to release alive. I am pleased to announce that they listened to us, as well as those who provided comments during the public comment period last month, and chose to table the proposed regulations in favor of more studies to be done before imposing limits. I was just made aware that ODWC Fisheries will be aligning with the Oklahoma fish stickers and local bullfishers to start a campaign to better evaluate native fish populations in the state. This is what we were hoping for, as we expect that they will see just how prolific these native fish species are.
Yep, and then moving on, he also goes on and says, I asked myself, how did we get here? The reality is that there are forces working against the bowfishing community. They use our words and images to portray the sport in negative ways and to exaggerate reality. We need to be stewards of our sport, and that starts with obeying laws, but also includes careful consideration of your presence on social media. The night that we remember forever and the pictures you share can be misconstrued into a blatant disregard for life. I urge all our members and followers to think before you post. The sport is under attack. Even though the BA will stand with you and fight to protect your rights, we may not always preserve. Please help the cause in 2024 and beyond by understanding how close the threats are to the sport, and always try to keep your sport in a positive light. If you ever question what the BA can do for you, this is a powerful example. Please consider becoming a premium or platinum member today and help support the organization that keeps the sport moving in a positive direction. Thanks, Pete Gregoire.
Very well written.
Absolutely.
Very well written. That's awesome. And you can tell just by that statement right there that Pete goes into these with a battle plan in place, and he's ready to portray the message that the bowfishing community is wanting to be heard by the general public.
Yep. Yeah. And that's what he says in there about the social media stuff makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely does.
I know we all like to show people how many fish we can shoot.
Yep.
Our boatloads of fish. Yes, I get it. We all love to do that. But that stuff can work against us. Not only for the sport of bowfishing, it can happen in all hunting activities that we do.
I tell you this, Matt, let me just interject here, because this actually recently came up in an NWTF situation. You know, I love turkey hunting.
National Wild Turkey Federation.
Yes, National Wild Turkey Federation. I support the NWTF. I love hunting turkeys, whatever. They posted a picture on their Instagram page. I think it was Instagram, one of their social media pages. And it was two people. It was a man and a woman by a dead turkey they had just shot, smiles on their faces. And here the woman is they cut the turkey's head off of the turkey's body, and they were smiling, you know, as a, and the amount of attention that picture got from anti-hunting groups was really bad. It was really bad. It kind of showed that's not the type of thing. That's not what turkey hunting's about. You shoot that bird for a memory, a trophy, a meal, everything that's right about hunting. And that kind of is just a very similar situation to what, you know, you just, that's with anything in life. You need to be careful what you're putting on social media. So sorry to interrupt, but that lined right up with it.
You might not even know it, but some group might take that picture and use that against what you love to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
So we really got to be careful, especially nowadays with as strong as social media is. It's a great tool.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Social media is a great tool. But sometimes it can backfire on us when we don't pay attention to what we're doing and posting out there. You know?
Yep, absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Yep. So with that, Schmitty, I think we're ready to move on and give Finz and Grinz Bowfishing a little jingle jangle here.
All right.
What do you say?
That sounds like a plan. Let's do it.
We'll be right back after this break.
This is Megamouth. It's the first free spooling spin cast style bowfishing reel. It's ready to shoot. No button to push.
Yes.
You engage the reel by pulling the T-bar. Megamouth is built for bowfishing. It's tough. Dual stainless steel and brass gears. 3 heavy-duty axial pins. A no-fail anti-reverse. An unmatched 28 inches of line per crank. And a 3-year warranty. Megamouth, the professional bowfishing reel.
And welcome back to the Bowfishing Buzz. All right, Schmitty, let's give Travis and Jenni a call here.
Absolutely. See what they have to say about the old butterfly carp.
Hello, it's Travis.
Travis, we would like to book a bowfishing trip for some butterfly carp next year. Would that work for you? Or this year?
No.
Uh-oh.
No, I might have to give you a free trip just so I can listen to that accent.
Oh, boy. Here right off the bat.
Oh, boy. I love it.
Oh, golly.
Well, Travis and your wife is joining us today, Jenni, too. Is that correct?
Yeah, she is somewhere around here.
Okay. All right.
But, yeah, she's joining us.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, we've got, like I said, Travis and Jenni from Finz and Grinz Bowfishing.
Absolutely.
And we actually had a listener asked us a few months back if we could do a category fish, and it was butterfly carp.
Yep.
And,
really?
You know, here in Wisconsin, we really don't have a lot of them.
No.
If you do get one, it's like, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I did shoot a crucian carp last year in a tournament, but nothing like
did you?
Yeah, nothing like a butterfly. We just don't have a lot of them around here.
Yeah, very rare.
And how big was your crucian?
He was just a little guy. He was maybe like 5 pounds or so. He had a little short body, but a huge tail. And then a huge dorsal fin.
If that was in Idaho, it would have been the new record.
Oh, really?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, because it's 3 pounds, 11 ounces, I believe, is the record.
Oh, no kidding. I'll have to see if I can find a picture of that and post it.
Yeah, I've got a couple that 3.6 and 3.9, so I'm right close to the record, but not quite.
Okay, and it was strange because we were in a back bay, and we were shooting in a tournament, the Wisconsin Open, and we were shooting a bunch of silvers in shallow water, muddy water, to where all you could see was, bodies and their fins and stuff, and I just shot at a carp body, which I thought was a smaller one, and here it was that little crucian carp.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a neat little guy.
So it didn't have the barbs?
Nope, didn't have barbs. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Because
that's kind of the question we've had, because biologists say that there's really not a way of telling a crucian versus a brown goldfish.
Oh, wow.
Unless you have a biologist check it.
Sure.
We just call them crucians. So
okay, they're neat little guys. Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was amazed at the size of the tail on that guy. For as for as small of a little body he had a heck of a tail on him.
Yeah, didn't fit his frame.
Wonder if maybe he had a little butterfly mixed in with him.
He could have. Yeah, that's cool. Because we did. I remember we did take time because we were shooting a tournament. We did take time to take a couple pictures. Of that carp.
Oh yeah.
We weren't going to use them to weigh in with our big 20, and we knew he was probably going to get smooshed up in the bottom of the barrel or something like that, you know. But we did take some pictures, so I'll have to find that.
Yeah, I'd like to see that for sure.
Right.
Yeah, that's
well, Jenny's with us now.
All right. Hello, Jenny. How are you doing?
Jenny.
Hi, how are you guys?
We're doing great. Thank you for joining us today and taking time out of your day to join the Bowfishing Buzz and talk about your adventures out there in Idaho. I mean, how cool is that? Butterfly carp, Idaho. It's got to be beautiful scenery out there, I can imagine. With
it is. Yeah, on the river, there's the scenery changes constantly. It's a pretty neat experience.
Yeah,
very nice.
So, Travis, Jenny, we just got a couple of questions for you guys. My first one here, you just give us a little bit of a background on the both of you, where you guys live, your hobbies, how you met, just a little bit of a insight of you guys over there.
Oh, she's gonna want to tell.
I hear a little giggle there.
How we met. So she's not competitive. You'll probably figure that out over time. But so we actually, I'm not afraid to admit, we actually met online.
Cool.
10 years ago, somewhere around there. Guys, we don't remember dates very well, but it was close. So she saw my pictures online and on my Facebook page and all that of bow hunting and archery, 3D archery tournaments I used to go to, which I don't do anymore because that's in the spring and bow fishing is way better in the spring.
There you go. Yeah.
She had never touched a bow. And anyways, let me kind of go back just a hair. We're from Meridian, Idaho. We guide on the Snake River.
Okay.
And we've been doing that for 3 years now. But anyways, back to the story. We met up. She works at the ER at St. Luke's. So she was at the time working, till midnight. And we actually scheduled a date and she canceled it because everybody kept telling her, well, you're going to go to the middle of nowhere with some stranger. But, anyways, I schmoozed her and got her to come out.
Nice.
And what's that?
No, that's nice.
Oh,
it's going good so far. Yep.
I'm rewinding just a bit. We met at a coffee shop first, and which wasn't even there. So he was already kind of sketchy in the beginning. I'm a little too frugal to eat or pay $10 for a cup of coffee. So I didn't know the place had gone out of business.
Oh,
but we met in the parking lot anyways.
We met in the parking lot, and he brought a bow, and his line was, if you can't pull the bow back, you're going to sit in the back of the boat.
Oh, wow. I've never heard that pickup line before.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
So I pulled it back.
Yeah. So we get out there, and she struggled to get that bow back, and she finally did. And she let the arrow fly, and by golly, she hit a fish.
Oh, my
first shot.
No
first
kidding.
Shot, first fish.
Meant to be.
I know. Exactly.
I'm sitting in the back of the boat.
So that's kind of how we met, and then it was a keeper, not the fish, but the girl.
Okay,
that's right.
Yep.
And so we've been going strong ever since. She wouldn't touch a fish for at least a year, and finally I said, you know what, you're getting pretty good at this. I can't keep going down and landing all of our fish. So she sucked it up and started landing her own fish. Now you can't even get her out of the fish barrel.
Cool. Good for you.
That's awesome, Jenni.
Awesome. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm usually landing the fish for the client.
Oh, you're staying busy with them. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And she's learned to share. It was hard for her the first season and a half because being on the boat for 4 hours, she's like she'd make videos talking to her bow.
Oh my god.
It's okay. It's all right. We're going to be up next. Don't worry.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah, good times.
Oh yeah.
I'm not addicted at all.
Yeah. No, it doesn't sound like it at all. That's right. That's awesome.
So then she her game really stepped up a few notches, and then we started shooting tournaments together, and
very cool.
And then guiding, and here we are.
That's
today
awesome.
In the wintertime, trying to get out. We're itching to get out, but we just had a couple feet of snow here, so we're not too anxious to get out there.
Yep. Well, that's a cool intro there. You met on a dating site, and look what's blossomed. Yeah. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
I'm pretty lucky. Every now and then, I'll get a text because she's working the day shift now, but it'll be just something simple like, "It's sunny out." ? I know exactly what my wife wants.
Yep. Just a little hint.
She wants the river.
That's right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is so
I'm pretty fortunate.
So I'm going to ask, how did the both of you get started? Well, obviously Jenni got into bow fishing because of you, Travis. Yep. I'm guessing. So how did you get into the sport of bow fishing, Travis?
I went down some old neighbors of mine that I became friends with years and years ago, probably 20-something years ago. They used to go down and sturgeon fish below a dam here, and during the day he had an old bow that I think he bought from a pawn shop, and he'd just go out on the bridge and shoot fish that would swim by. I went down to visit them one day, and they were out on this bridge shooting 30, 40 feet above the waters. Wow. How tall it was. And I grabbed his bow and I shot a couple times, missed, and then I hit one. And when I saw from that angle, I saw that white arrow take off out into the deep water and just disappear. And of course, I'm just looking at it, and it took all the line out of the reel before I'm like, oh, I got to tighten this up. Tightened it up and actually pulled in about a 20-pound fish all the way up that bridge.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
And I was hooked. I was hooked from then on. And then, as bow fishing goes, I went out and got an old hunting bow that I converted to a fishing bow and just started doing it from there. But I was shooting with because I archery hunt big game. So all I knew was peep sight, and I actually had a single pin, and I was shooting fish or trying to shoot fish with a single pin and a peep sight.
Oh, wow.
And about every 30 shots I'd hit one.
Mm-hmm.
And then, just got more and more into it, and then started buying actual fishing bows.
Yep.
And shooting without the peep and the release and all that kind of stuff. And just kind of got better and better equipment from there. Mm-hmm. And then it turned into the guide business because we were so hooked on it.
Wow.
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long?
Yeah,
so how long, Travis, from when you first, went out with your buddies in there and shot some fish out the bridges, how long after that before you bought your own boat?
Mm-hmm. It was probably, let's see, I've always had boats. I had a boat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I just pole fished. I just trolled for okonie and trout, and mm-hmm. And then I had another pontoon boat that I bought. I had a Weldcraft jet boat, and then I bought a pontoon boat just for the pole fishing. Well, that didn't last very long because I ended up putting a second story on that pontoon and shooting them from, we were probably 13, 14 feet in the air shooting down on these fish. It was pretty cool. But then I decided I think I want to try a tournament. So I reached out to some people, and they hooked me up with a guy to have as a partner. And I think we fared right in the middle of that tournament. We came in like average Joe, and we got like $100 or $200 out of it.
Sure.
But everybody thought it was crazy seeing a pontoon boat out there with a 2-story pontoon boat. But they kind of laughed. A lot of people wanted to shoot from that boat just to see what it was like.
Right. Yeah,
because we'd pull up in the islands, and guys on shorter platforms, they could see the cattails and stuff moving, but they couldn't see the fish. And we'd roll right up on them and start shooting right down into them. Yeah. So that changed because, you can't really run a tournament, especially shotgun starts, with 14 miles an hour.
Yep. Right. Yep.
Especially when you got to go a long way. So then we went to the boat we have now. That's a Tracker 2072.
Nice.
And of course I needed the platform modified to be a little higher because we were used to shooting from higher elevations.
Mm-hmm.
And
which I think makes our boat very unique because I think it's the tallest one around.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's about the tallest we have here around here.
So I'm
shooting from a high deck.
Okay.
So I'm gonna guess that you aren't going under. Are you going under like a lot of bridges and stuff in your river system, or into like back bays and stuff?
Yeah, we do, but most of the bridges are all plenty high.
Sure. Okay.
There's a couple. There's one bridge that we actually don't guide on this section of river, but there's one bridge if the water gets too high, I have inches of clearance, and I just kind of take it nice and slow. But I don't run on. I'm not on step when I go under that bridge by any means.
Sure. Okay. Sure. So when you said that you just kind of fell in love with bow fishing, but what else made you guys want to start and go through the process of beginning your own guide service?
Well, it happened to be a friend of mine knew a guy that had 3 permits. So in Idaho, you're designated certain sections. We can't just guide on any open water in Idaho.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so we have a section, and this guy was more of a sturgeon, like pole fishing guide, and he had a section of river that he didn't even use because there's not a lot of sturgeon down lower. You got to be up on his other 2 sections, is what where his moneymaker was. So I approached him and he said, "Yeah, let's work out a deal." So I got the outfitter permit to guide on this section of river. My section of river is roughly around 150 miles.
Oh wow!
So
geez. Okay,
it's plenty big. And the nice thing about it is between the 2 dams that I guide on, have the highest concentration of the butterfly carp anywhere that I know of.
Wow.
And unless you went to I don't know if you've ever researched butterfly carp, but there's not a lot you can find about them. The story that I've heard is that when the river flooded, farmlands and, residential properties that had koi ponds in their yards, that's how the koi got into the river, and then they bred with common carp.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah. But that's all I've ever heard about how we got them. And if you research koi or butterfly koi, they don't really tell you, it's not, they're the typical fish that you see in people's ponds.
Right.
Colorful, but we have researched it and they will breed with common carp, which is what they've done. Yeah. Right. And they have the dominant gene, kind of like a mere carp. So that's, I think over the years, we've got so many butterfly carp, just the populations are just they're going out of control.
Wow.
Here.
That's really interesting. Really interesting.
Yeah.
Because you look at, you look at the silvers and the big heads, same thing. Floodings. And they were in aquaculture farms. Into the river systems. The rest is history.
Pretty much the same kind of story as you always hear.
Right. I would have never guessed that would be the same reasoning behind butterfly carp.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's pretty impressive. If you've never seen one in person, they are cool. They are really cool fish. When you pull them out of the water, because sometimes you can't see that it's a butterfly carp. But we see it now because we've done it long enough. But when their fins, when we're guiding and we have new people that have never seen them, and their fins are out and they're just kind of in a relaxed mode, it's something else. Because I kind of describe it as they look like flames in the water.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And they're just, it's almost like slow motion when you see them.
Sure. Yep.
You know, and then when they get them in their hands and they actually hit them, people are they're blown away.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Especially the big ones.
Absolutely. So
go ahead.
Were you getting ready to go guiding and you already knew that the butterfly carp were in this stretch of the river system? Is that correct?
Yes, I did. Okay. And it took me years to figure that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Long before I started guiding.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that opportunity came up and I thought, I had a lot of people say, no, it can't be done. You're not in an area or a state that, it's popular enough. But I ignored them and thought, I have a niche with these butterfly carp.
Right on.
If it doesn't work, then, maybe the business, obviously for tax purposes, I can write off our playtime and equipment and whatever. But it's turned into a business that has just been amazing so far.
That's
awesome.
Really cool.
Yep.
That's really cool.
Yep.
What I want to know.
But I love teaching.
And that makes it even better. Absolutely.
Yeah.
With your clients that you have on the boat. But I'd like to know, like the butterfly carp, like when was the first time that you saw one and the first time that you shot one? I mean, that had to be crazy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So the very first time I shot one, I didn't know what it was. It was in murky water and I could see the ghosts. I call them ghosts when it's murky and you see the white fish down swimming around and you can't really quite tell what it is. You can tell the shape so you know what to shoot at.
Right. Because
it kind of has that football shape. You can tell the difference between a sucker and a catfish or whatever. And that football is a football ghost is what I shot at and I brought it up and holy cow, it was a small one. It was about a 10-pounder, but it was the coolest thing because I'd been asking locals that were posting pictures, where can I go to shoot go to the Snake River. Okay, well, Snake River's, I don't know, I think from start to finish in the state alone is like over 1,000 miles. So go to the Snake River, huh? Okay. So it took me a long time. And we finally decided, let's go try. One day, Jenni and I went, and this was before we were guiding. We went to a new area, a new boat ramp that we hadn't ever fished before. And we fished for a couple hours. And I said, well, I didn't say it. My wife, this is her big line. When I'm ready to leave, just one more, please. So she got her one more, and we went down this little area, down through this little slough along this island. We got about to the bottom of the island, and there was a down tree that kind of hung. It was half in the water, half out, and I could see those fins, those flames, and there was a fish just hanging out under this tree, and it was almost like it was sunbathing. It had its fins all sprawled out.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like in slow motion. And of course I got buck fever. She got buck fever, excited to shoot this thing, and we missed.
Oh no.
Yeah. And, so that story came before the first one, obviously the first one I shot, the murky water, but that was the first time I saw one. The first one I shot I didn't even know what it was until I brought it up.
Right. Yep.
But yeah, seeing it in person, and then we backtracked and went back up and floated that shoreline again. And they were, of course, they weren't in sitting mode. They were all just going crazy everywhere. And that day we saw 4 or 5 of them all grouped up together.
Oh, wow.
And so obviously the next chance we had, we went back to that spot and we just started finding them more and more. And it's just, they're carp. They're hard to figure out where they're going to be. At first, I used to find them along the Russian olives, the trees, not so much in the cattails or reeds or any of that. I thought, well, I think the butterflies like the trees, and that's where we'd find them. Well, now over time, No, that's not the case. They're everywhere regular carp will be.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah. But wintertime is when we find them concentrated into schools.
Oh, no
which
kidding.
is the coolest. Oh, yeah. Because most of the year you see them mixed with some commons, or you'll even see them with some suckers. But right now we're actually seeing them in schools. And
wow.
it's pretty cool to see a whole, 15 or 20 butterflies all grouped together.
Good Lord.
That would be really neat to see that.
That's wild.
Yeah. And I try to do some video on just, showing them in the water and instead of shooting them, just to try to help promote it a little bit. But
right.
It's really hard to not just shoot, because especially when I've got two fish that are 1.5 pounds and 2 pounds shy of the world record.
Oh,
and so I'm trying to get that.
Yeah,
I need another 2 pounds.
Right. Yeah. Oh, gotta get one when it's full of eggs or something like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, right now they're they've lost. I don't know if I'm not sure they're feeding or not, because they don't have. There's hardly any fat content on these fish in the wintertime. They still have eggs. Full of eggs, but they're fat. I have some people that take all of our fish and they process it and use it as a food source.
Oh, cool.
And so they are looking for the fat. So when you cut it open, you look at that, that skin, that layer of skin. If it doesn't, they like a 1/2 inch of fat. Right now we've got maybe 1/4 inch to 1/8 of an inch of fat.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, that reminds me, like on those shows, like I remember watching like Wicked Tuna. That's how they would judge how much that fish was worth. They would measure the fat content. That's very cool that they're doing that with butterfly carp.
I know, and that's exactly what I said to him. I said that's the only, they stick that probe down in there, they pull it out, they tell the quality and the fat content, the marbling and all that, and that's exactly what these guys are looking for. So,
oh my gosh. That's very cool.
But we actually just had our first eggs, the carp eggs, done from some of their family friends that only use sturgeon eggs and carp eggs. They're the two best.
Really?
And we thought, there's no way. I'm not going to eat this. But they brought it to us, and it's in a kind of a dip form. You can put it on toast, like a hummus.
Okay, sure.
And trying to get over the taste of it was amazing. I thought it was great, and most people that did thought it was great until I told them what it was, and then everybody backs off like, oh, the eggs.
Well, now I'm curious.
The eggs, yeah, I know it's crazy how good this stuff was. But I ate it on a cracker, and it was all we had when they brought it to me was some multigrain crackers with a lot of flavor. So I'm like, I can't even taste this with this cracker. So I just tried it straight up on my finger, and I'm like, this is it. It kind of just reminded me of a shrimp dip, or not even that strong, not even that strong of a flavor. It just kind of a cream cheese type dip, and you could see the little eggs in there.
Oh my!
It was a mental process to be able to swallow it.
Oh, yeah. I bet. Yeah. I bet.
Yeah. So it more or less kind of like takes on the flavor of whatever it's combined in or whatever you eat it on then.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah. Cool. But it's not disgusting. You don't feel, even when I tasted it without a cracker, you don't feel the eggs. It just feels like, it's just a cream cheese dip.
Okay. Wow. Very cool. So let me ask you this, Travis, Jenni, when you guys kind of said that this time of year, you guys are seeing butterfly carp in schools of upwards of 15 or 20. So say you guys are out on an average night guiding. How many butterfly carp are you guys seeing in total in a night of shooting fish?
During the winter or summer?
Like right now?
Yeah, let's do one of each. Well, how many are you seeing right now this time of year?
Right now, it's funny because usually when I guide in the warmer months, I go up to point A and I just troll all the way for 4 hours downstream.
Yep.
And they're just kind of scattered all over throughout the whole river.
Okay.
And then you have those slow moments where there's not anything for a while. But right now in the cold temp, I hit different spots. So we'll go up to point A we'll hit that spot. If there's nothing there, then I motor to another spot where they're at. They're not in the grass or the weed beds like they are most of summer in the warmer temps. They're in the deeper water for most of the day, and then about an hour and a half, 2 hours after dark, they start to come up onto the mud flats. And there's no vegetation. There's not a single weed for the most part. And they just come up into anywhere from 4 to 6 inches of water, 4 feet to 6 inches or so. And they're just on these big mud flats. And they're just congregated. I mean, but you could go miles without seeing fish. So that's why I bounce from spot to spot. Right. The spots that I've found them in and it's been, I think this is our third winter fishing. And so it's taken, a couple of years to figure them out.
Learn them,
where they're at.
I would say right now we'll roll up on 50 to 100 fish, and then they're gone. You get they're shooting, spooking the fish and whatnot, and then I motor to another spot, and sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not, and we're just kind of doing circles until and then all of a sudden here we go. We're coming up on them again.
Wow.
No kidding.
During the summer, it's like 3 or 4 we might see on our 4-hour thing. But now I would say, at least 8 to 9 I'm seeing, if not more.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah. Even if we don't see the schools of butterfly, they're still, if let's say we see 10 fish coming at us, or and I've done some of my more recent videos have been not so much like highlight kill shots, but just footage of the amount of fish that we're seeing in the cold temp.
Yep.
But there's no exaggeration. She's at least if I had clients that wanted to book and in the cold and kind of deal with the cold, they would probably get at least 10 shots at 10 butterflies in 4-hour window.
That's awesome.
Well, and the thing that people don't think of either, during the winter, the fish are lethargic, so you get like 3 or 4 shots if you want.
Sure, yep.
They're a
little slower, just like we are up here in Wisconsin. We're just a little bit slower.
Yeah. Like, shoot again. Go ahead, shoot again.
Yeah.
and they need it too, because I did a podcast back in December with a guy and I had 2 bucket listers that could shoot fish. These guys, they had no problem filling a barrel. But as soon as they got into the butterfly, the first butterfly they had a chance at, they couldn't hit it to save their lives.
A little butterfly fever.
They got that buck fever, butterfly fever. And by the time he got it, actually, these were 2 different trips back to back, one Friday night, Saturday night. And both fish that finally hit it and landed it, it looked like a tiger. All the arrow grazing off the side of the fish, really super close. These fish literally had stripes.
Oh my gosh.
And then it was funny because like the one guy, as soon as he gets it in, she takes the pictures and video of him and all that. We go out, he gets back up, gets locked and loaded. First pull, shoots a fish. I'm like, are you kidding me? You just took 10 shots to shoot that butterfly, and you just stuck this one first shot.
That's how it goes.
Common.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. That's
but
crazy.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yep.
Pretty cool to see. My excitement definitely needs to tone down a little bit, because when I'm guiding, pointing fish out, there's a carp, there's fish, there's a sucker, there's a fish. Oh, there's a butterfly. Somebody get that fish,
Yep.
Then I realized this year or next year, I'm not going to, I started trying to do it towards the end of the season, is not, reflecting that excitement and getting people all riled up before they,
Sure.
And I'm just going to point it out like it's another common carp.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
I had to do that. I had to do that last year with my wife bow hunting. It's just, okay, I couldn't, because she didn't want me to get all excited and all jacked up. I was filming it and stuff. I just had to be quiet and just let her do her thing.
Yep.
And she's right on, you know, but I didn't want to make her nervous and all that stuff. So same thing with you guiding on, oh my gosh, there's a butterfly carp. Hit that one, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Put the pressure
exactly.
on them. Mm-hmm.
Well, and when you have people traveling from, we've had some people come from Hawaii, Alaska, Michigan, cool. Iowa, all over the country. And so that puts a lot of pressure on me. And I already have, the excitement has been building because now I've got some experienced bow fishermen coming to shoot this fish. Mm-hmm. And I've got to get, it's a lot of pressure to get them on those fish, which once I do, it, my stress and the pressure's gone. Yeah. Cause you know how it is. It's up to them to shoot the fish. I just have to get them into them. But, when they come out and travel that far, it's really hard for me not to get excited because I'm already, built up as it is.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But when they hit it, it makes it all worth it.
That's cool.
I think the excitement in both of us, because we're like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That gets the blood flowing and the excitement going and the adrenaline going. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And it makes for good video, too, when you see clients just, their grin is just ear to ear, and they're just happy as can be. And some people have even said, I'm done. I can leave right now.
Really?
I got my fish. We're done.
Yep.
But of course they don't.
They don't.
Yep. You're out there for however long it takes now.
Just one more.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
There it is.
And I had two guys come in. They were from the eastern part of Idaho, so they still traveled a little bit to get over here. But the dad, it was a father-son deal, and the dad paid for the trip, and he didn't get a fish. Or his son shot 3 butterflies.
Oh man!
And the dad had opportunities. He got buck fever and missed. And I gave him an extra 20 minutes. I had to give him 20 minutes because I was in an area that I couldn't motor out of. I had to troll out of there.
Gotcha.
And we get to the very end of this island, and he sticks a 23-pounder.
Oh my gosh!
It was a good. And that right there was like he was so happy, and I'm like, that there's no better way to finish a trip than that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yep,
he's on top of the world.
Oh yeah,
for sure. And he just, he was kind of on the way, motoring to some spots. He kind of just had that look like, all right, when are we going to stop? On the way back to the ramp, the smile never. I think it was permanent. His smile was it was awesome. Yeah, no matter how cold it was on the travel back.
Right. Yeah.
That's awesome.
How cool that you gave him that experience and that memory. That's going to stick with him forever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, exactly. For sure.
So, spawning on the butterfly, do they spawn with commons? End of May, June, in that time period out there for you? I'm not sure what the time period is out there for you when the water temperatures get to that, right? But
it's kind of hit and miss around here, and I want to say April, anytime, generally when the water temp gets into the mid 60s, they'll spawn. And it's the last couple of years that hasn't been the case. We've had, we'll have some warm days in the spring and sunny, nice, or not even sunny, but maybe overcast, just not. They should be spawning. You should see it, but you don't. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, the next day you go out there and the fish are spawning like crazy
everywhere. Yep.
And then that lasts for a few hours, and then you don't ever see them. I don't particularly like the spawn, mainly because they get up into a lot of the shallows, up in the reeds and cattails where you can't see them, and when they're in the open, like the mud flats and the shallow, there'll be thousands of fish, but you can't see them.
Dirties up the water.
And they're murking up the water. They're slamming into the boat. It's frustrating.
Wow.
And so I don't really care too much for it. I like, before and after.
Yep.
Because they're scattered, and they're not scattered to where you're just individual fish. You still see, pods and schools of carp, but they're not as spooky, and they're not just going crazy in the 2 feet of water and making it so you can't see it. So
right.
You've had amazing shots at spawners that there's like 100 fish everywhere, like just in this ball, and you could shoot. Didn't you shoot 2 at once?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
So they do come in and spawn with the commons,
Yeah.
right along
Yep.
with them and stuff. They're spawning together.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you see them all summer long. You'll see. It's actually rare to see in the summer. I don't think we've ever seen a school of butterflies. We usually see, you'll see, 5 or 6 commons, and there's a butterfly with them.
Okay.
And that's just kind of how what we've noticed.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting.
Or you'll see like 2 or 3 butterflies.
Okay.
But not big, huge numbers of them. But it's just, I want to say, I know saying 100% is probably not the most accurate, but it's pretty dang close to 100%. Of every trip we go out, we see at least 2 butterflies.
Okay.
All right.
Very cool.
All right.
That's awesome. So let me ask you this, Travis, Jenni. What is the biggest butterfly carp that you guys have shot, or someone else, that was with you on a night of shooting with you guys, guide service, has shot? Biggest butterfly.
So I shot a 25.5 pound butterfly and a 26.7.
Oh,
wow.
And I believe the world record is 27 something.
Wow.
So you're you're right there.
You're flirting with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I had a client that got, his was a 25, just bigger than mine, 25.8, 25.9, somewhere around there.
Wow.
And he got that thing mounted, and I'll tell you what, when I went down, because we had 9 fish taken to the taxidermist.
He's busy.
Yeah.
This was.
Everybody wants to mount the butterfly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But his mount was in there. It was not finished. It was in the drying phase, so he hadn't. And they're skin mounts that he does. They're not replicas. They're the actual fish. So he had it in the drying phase, and he had it next to one of my other clients' fish on a piece of driftwood that he mounts them on. And the back fin of this fish was, I want to say, every bit of 18 inches from top to bottom, maybe bigger.
My Lord.
It was insane.
Oh, wow.
I know. It was beautiful. But my big one, it was almost a kind of a copper looking color. And then it has white. It had white fins, and the tips of the fins were red.
Oh,
my
man.
Goodness. Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was the 25.5 pounder. And had I known then, I would have mounted it. But I mean, that was probably my second or third butterfly I'd ever shot. And, so it didn't get mounted, but I sure wish it did. Wow. It's my main picture on everything for the most part.
So is there a mounted butterfly in the household right now? Is there any in the household?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a butterfly, a mirror, and we had Jenni's at the taxidermist, her butterfly, but she ended up shooting our record, which she shot a 41.5 pounder, just a common. And because we're doing trade shows and stuff, we wanted, some mounts to display.
Sure. Yeah.
Yep.
So we had him scratch off the other butterfly because it was a smaller one, and do the common because we didn't have a common. But the mirror, the butterfly, I've actually had another guide from another state call me up and ask me if he could borrow it for a show he was doing. And I told him about the client that shot the other big 25 pounder. He actually lives like 5 minutes from this guide. And I said, and he knew him. I said, if you want to, instead of traveling down here from Oregon to Idaho, just go 5 minutes down to your neighbor, and he's got one. So that way I don't have to worry about it getting broken.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Jeez.
So
that's beautiful.
Cool. Yeah, very beautiful.
But we've seen some different color phases. I have a buddy who shot. We called her Goldie, and she looks like a big butterfly goldfish.
Oh, nice.
She's yellow and white, and he hit her right in the lip when he got her, and he got her up just enough for a couple pictures. And it was wiggling around because I was trying to tell him, now turn it this way and turn it that way. And it wiggled right out of his hand and back into the water.
Oh,
So,
no.
Oh, no. Oh, my gosh.
So within 3 days, an exact year later, this was all in March, I shot the same fish in the tail.
Wow.
And it was 10 yards from where he shot it a year
Oh, my
prior.
Wow. That's very interesting data right there. I mean, from year to year, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I get it up to the boat, and it kicks out. So I didn't actually land the fish, but we could see it was Goldie. It was Goldie for sure.
Oh, my goodness.
So is Goldie still swimming around then?
We haven't seen her. That was what, 3 years ago, and we have not seen her yet. We haven't seen her on social media or anything.
One of those were kill shots, so she could still be alive.
Yeah, right?
I love how you guys are talking about this fish like how most guys talk about like a 170-inch buck. Like they had him at 10 yards, got away, shot him, didn't recover him, and we're talking about a fish here. That's awesome.
Right.
That's
very back in the same spot, 10 yards from where you shot it before.
You know his core area. You know where that fish is bedding.
Yeah, I've even got diaphragms that I stick in the water and call for them too.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. Rattle them in.
Yeah, you got to hear my butterfly bugle.
Yes, there you go.
Butterfly bugle.
Yep,
I love it. That is so cool. So
I hadn't thought about that now. So you guys must be hunters.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Just hearing you say
those
that.
Bucks.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So Travis and Jenni, somebody wants to come on a bow fishing trip with you guys to have a chance at a butterfly. How can they get a hold of you? Where can they find you? You got any websites or are you on social media? Where can somebody find out about you guys?
Yeah, so we have we're on Facebook and Instagram, Grinz N Finz. That's with Z's, the letter N, and our website is grinzandfinzbowfishing.com.
Okay.
All the information they need as far as booking trips and that is on the website. They can get a hold of us through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, and but most of the information is on the website, the pricing and all that. We have gift cards available. They can purchase gift cards. Otherwise, a lot of people they inquire about a trip and we use Venmo or Square.
Okay.
For deposits, and I usually take a deposit to secure a date. Once I get that, then it's good to go, and then we just take care of everything at the ramp. Mm-hmm. And I think that's probably our biggest thing is Facebook.
Okay.
Is our Google's another good one too that brings us in a lot of stuff from out of state.
Sure.
Yeah.
What a perfect name for that.
It is so good.
Grinz N Finz.
Yeah.
Finz?
I'm jealous of the
name.
name.
It Finz and Grinz? It's Fizz and Grinz.
Well, I can't tell you the story behind that.
Okay.
It started. It was. I might tell you in person one day when you come out to shoot.
All right. Yeah.
But yeah, we changed it to Grinz N Finz.
Grinz N Finz. Okay.
I don't know how we came up with Grinz N Finz. Well, I know how, but I wanted it to be a little different with the Z's.
Yes.
Because it sounds like it.
Right.
Kind of, you know.
Yep.
And I know some people struggle with the spelling, and even when the auto correct on text and keyboard wants to correct it, but that's how it is.
But what a perfect name for that.
It is. It's exactly you get fins, and then when you get fins, you grins. So you smiling all over the place.
That's perfect.
Yeah, that's funny because last year I did a kind of a highlight video of just the end of the season of all the smiles and the grins from clients.
Yeah.
And it was just a quick, little album or a little video of just a photo video of the smiles. And it was one of my favorites because it just reminded me of why we love doing this.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And teaching people and showing their excitement, whether I'm elk hunting and calling for people and listening to their excitement, the adrenaline rush that they get from hearing a bull elk come in or seeing somebody shoot their first fish.
Right.
It's a rush. It's big time.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
And not to, toot my own horn, but I did that for that person.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. You get to say that 100%, 10 times over.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
And I really love the explanation of it's like flames underwater.
Yeah, that is a very good way to put it.
In slow motion.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can vision that when you see a fantail like that under a tree, under the water, and he's not swimming. So when they swim, is it more of a compact? Yes. You don't see it as much as they do when they're just sitting there kind of just floating around?
No, you don't, but I have a recent video of, I'm not sure where it's on my Facebook, but it's a fish just kind of sitting out, kind of broadside position, 10, 15 yards from the boat. And it's all tucked in, except that back tail. That back tail looked like extensions. Like he went to the beauty shop and had extensions put in.
Sure.
It was insane on that one. But yeah, usually when they're swimming away from you, they're tucked in, but you can still see that tail fin is quite a bit longer than a common. And that when they're just sitting there kind of idle, and they're still tucked in, we've seen them so much that we can tell for the 99% of the time that it's a butterfly right there.
Sure.
And then they get, the boat kind of drifts up closer to them, and then they kind of scurry off a little bit, and that's when they fan out.
Sure.
And you're yelling, "Shoot that! Hurry! Get it! It's going!"
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
so cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, Travis and Jenni, thank you so much for joining us here on the Bowfishing Buzz and telling us your story.
Oh, no problem. Lots of information.
It was, from learning how the fish got into the river system, I thought was just crazy.
Yep.
And what you guys are doing there, I can tell that you really love taking people out and enjoying watching their excitement in the sport that you love.
Absolutely.
And that's awesome. That's really cool. So if any of our listeners are out there and they want to go on one heck of a trip, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah.
You need to give up Travis and Jenni, Grinz N Finz Bowfishing in Idaho for some butterfly. We're gonna come out.
I was just gonna say, when are we gonna book our trip?
Yeah, you guys need to come out for sure.
Yes.
That would be a blast. And once again, thank you guys so much for joining us. It was great talking to you guys, and we wish you the best of luck out there on your guiding out there, and just keep putting smiles on people's faces, or grins, I guess, on people's faces out there.
Grins. That's what it is, buddy.
That's right.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you guys so much.
We appreciate it. You guys have a great day.
Yep,
you as
too.
well.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
When the clients are grinning, Travis and Jenni are winning.
Yep, and they're loving it.
They are. That's cool. Something that he said, too, that flew a little bit under the radar is he said, he loves bowfishing, got into it like so many of us have, something that was kind of a basic, he's shooting fish off a bridge type of deal, and that sparks an interest that leads you down a path, and now he's got his own guide service. Yeah. Him and Jenni have their own guide service. And but he mentioned in there, he says, I also love teaching.
Right.
You got to have that initial baseline of loving watching others succeed, not just yourself, and that's the combination that you need to make yourself a very successful guide. Yep. I mean, that's when he said that, I'm like, yep, he's got everything that he needs.
Yep.
Mentally, physically, knowledge base, he's the real deal. Right. So,
and how cool is that, husband and wife?
Yes, that's awesome.
Doing something like that together that they both love.
You could hear the passion. You could hear when Jenni was talking, you could hear the passion shining through that. They really, they are genuinely passionate about what they do.
Just one more.
Yeah.
Yep. Just one more. So how cool is that? So we need to go shoot some butterflies.
I was just going to say, what are we doing next week?
We need to go shoot some butterflies.
Yeah. We're going to be,
Flaming carp.
That was also a very cool way to describe that.
Yeah.
How it's like flames underwater.
Right.
You can tell, he's got lots of experience with those fish. That's very cool. That's very cool. So so glad they were able to join us. That's awesome.
Schmitty, what are we doing coming up here?
Well, we're
going to, I think on our next podcast, I talked about next month, we're going to have Pete Gregoire on.
Yes.
Talking about some of the regulation that they had to go fight down there in Oklahoma.
Oh, I still have my sunglasses on.
I know, you look like a wingnut. We're sitting up here in the studio.
That.
Are those lights that bright where you need to have your glasses on?
My fantasy future is so bright. Fantasy football future is so bright. I got to wear shades.
Are so scratched to crap, it's just ridiculous.
You know when I bought these, Matt? Would you like to hear the story
You're
behind
probably
these sunglasses?
17 years old.
I think I was maybe 18 years old, and I bought them at a gas station on a way down to a bowfishing trip. We were going down to Kentucky or something, and I didn't have polarized glasses, and I ran into a quick trip. Ding, ding. And they've lasted to this day.
Oh, that's cool.
They're a little scratched up.
That's cool.
Yeah, but they work great. They work great. But next week, like you said, Matt, so Travis was talking about flames underwater and big, beautiful fish. We will be doing the exact opposite of anything that has to do with fire or flame. We will be freezing our butts off, but at the same time, absolutely having a blast because leaving, today's Monday the 15th, tomorrow, Tuesday 16th at midnight, so I guess we're leaving Wednesday morning at 12 a.m. Yeah. We are going to drive you, myself, Tim, who we've had on the podcast, and another coworker of ours here at AMS, Bob. We're going to go out to Minnesota on our annual AMS Bowfishing ice fishing trip, and we're going to try to put some big old gillies topside.
That's right. They're not going to go topside. They're going to go in my belly.
They're going to go in our belly. Yeah. Yeah. And our Packers play Saturday night. We'll be out there to watch that. So we are pumped up. I hope we can catch some fish, even though, of course, we've had the mildest winter to date so far. Halfway through January. And of course, starting yesterday into this whole week, the highs are like 0, low.
I had -8 this morning coming to work.
High of 0, low of -8. Those temperatures are going to hold. It is going to be freezing cold for our entire ice fishing trip, which of course, that always happens whenever we want to go ice fishing. It's always terrible weather, but we'll make the most of it.
We are.
We'll hopefully try to go catch some fish. So
we are for sure. Well, Schmitty,
you know what that means.
Wraps up episode 73. Yep. The Bowfishing Buzz, baby. Go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go. Absolutely.
Don't forget to check out the new products by AMS Bowfishing, the Ringo Bow, baby.
Ringo Bow. We got the Sport Retriever, the Sport Combo, and the new Quad Lock for Mega Mouth.
That whole Ringo Bow kit.
Yep.
$3.99, Schmitty.
Yeah, that's got a reel and a rest mounted to it. You got our string things on there. The bow is ready to rock and roll.
The Ringo Bow.
Yeah.
It's a sweet looking setup.
Yep. A fish killer. Fish killer. It is pretty.
It's a pretty bow.
Plus white shows red very nice.
That's right. So add some red speckles on there.
Yes. Yeah, a little custom paint job when you get it in the boat.
All right, everybody. Well, from all of us here at AMS Bowfishing and
Mega Mouth Bowfishing,
we wish you all the best of luck. Remember, aim low
and think big. Thanks for listening, guys.